Good morning, guys. Welcome back or to the channel. In today's video, well, you can see we have some parts for the 6.0 from our friends over at SPELAB. So we have, well, as you can see, we have some billet diff covers for the truck, and yes, we have both. First, let me just say, packaging, 10 out of 10. Like, actually, good job, guys. Y'all nailed it with packaging. Even this one was in this box surrounded by cardboard, so super nice. They come with hardware, which is also super nice. Black hardware also, which, you know, it's not broken or anything, but very nice. Lock washers and all. Awesome. Now, I did see on the website a lot of people complain about the gaskets, but my grandpa said the same thing. These are very nice. I like these. So, with that being said, let's get into this guy, and let's take a look. Also, in random stuff, have a fender roller for the 300, and I have some filters for my Fast. But anyway, let's get this guy out of here. This is a little bit different finish over this one, so just note that. But let's get this one out of here, and let's take a look at what we got. All right, so let me just start with a little bit of criticism. I really wish the finishes matched, but I'm probably going to powder coat these if I do keep them. Now, I am actually purchasing some equipment that I might be building my own diff covers. They won't be billet, unfortunately, but so, you know, like I said, if I do keep these, they will be getting powder coated anyway, so I don't guess it really matters. But the finish on this is really nice for, you know, what you get from most companies. Like, for instance, this fender roller. This powder's garbage. So just keep that in mind. This is very nice, and even this textured finish is also pretty nice. So on these, as you can see, you get a sight glass with a little floaty ball. I'm not sure exactly what this is for. Maybe it's for like a temp sensor, if you want to put a temp sensor in. I don't know. You get a drain, which is super nice, and then you also get a fill, which is also super nice. So, like I said, this is a billet cover. Well, both of these are billet covers, and they got some weight to them. But they are, I mean, check out that machining. Super nice. Also, as like I said, I'm a powder coater. They have done a pretty decent job with keeping powder out of the inside of these. You know, a little bit on the edges here and there, but nothing crazy. So, again, guys, good job. You know, from my opinion. You also have on your drain, well, is that the drain? No. Either way, it looks like these both have magnets on them for the fill and the drain, which is also, you're going to hear me say it again, super nice. Oh, like I said, good job, guys. Pretty impressed with both of these, actually. So, now, unfortunately for me, I'm not going to get to install these today. I still have to go get fluid and some other stuff for doing this. I don't remember when the last time my fluid was changed exactly. So that's that. But these are riveted on. So I would assume if you really wanted to make a custom plate, you could rivet it back on. I don't know that for sure though. But pretty nice nonetheless. Or, you know, if you wanted to take this off, and if you powder your diff cover, you could take this off and maybe do something with this powder wise. But like I said, I'm not gonna get to put these on today because, again, I have to get fluid still. I also bought a very large piece of equipment for DS Customs, the business, which will be here not tomorrow, but the day after. I have a ton of powder work to do tomorrow, and then that delivery, the delivery for that will be the next afternoon. So I have to do a ton of rearranging, a bunch of cleanup, and it's just me. So we have these to install though, so y'all will see that in this video. So we have these. I have filters for the fast, and then like I said, I do have a fender roller for the 300. But if y'all want to check these out, I will leave a link down below in the description. Again, SPELAB, good job guys. These are really nice, at least for what I'm looking at here. So I do wish these came in different finishes. Being as these are billet, if they came in just raw machining, they would look stunning. But that's just my opinion. So anyway, I'll catch y'all here in probably a week. We'll get these installed, and we'll see how's the fitment on them. All right, guys. So it is actually a few weeks later or so, and well, been slammed busy as usual, but no complaints here. You know, busy's always nice. But we're gonna be installing the diff covers on the 6.0 today. We're doing both front and rear. So let's get this whole thing fired up, get it down here to the shop, and well, let's get these knocked out. Give y'all a little cold start on her. So, I guess that was one of the more eventful cold starts we've had in a bit. Now, it's a little chilly today. It is currently 58 degrees, according to the truck. But that's not like cold by any means. So, we'll have to figure that out. But, anyway, I believe at some point I'm going to see if we can get this thing retuned, because it does have some different parts and whatnot on it. We also need to figure out about the fuel pressure deal. If y'all seen that video, but either way, it still started, so I can't really complain. I also believe I have a bit of a high pressure leak, maybe, or a stopped up IPR screen, so we'll also have to get that figured out at some point as well. But let me go open the shop door, we'll get this thing pulled in and get started. Also guys, if I haven't mentioned it already, there will be a discount code and a link down below in the description. Big thank you to the guys over at SPELAB for sending this stuff out. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Alright, so I'm not going to film under there because the lighting's absolutely atrocious, as you can see. But we do have 14s under here, so 14s shouldn't have to take your tire bar off. But one thing I did want to note, super nice about these if I hadn't already, is packaging is great. They do give you nice hardware, new black hardware. So that's nice with washers and everything. Those are Allen's as well. And then also you have your gasket, so you don't have to smear RTV all over these and make some mess and everything else. These also have a drain plug, which is also super nice for when you service these. This is a sensor port if you want to put a temp sensor in here, and they also have a fill up here on top. So anyway, we're we're gonna get a drain pan under here, get the stock cover off, and then after we get this all flipped around, we'll do the rear. Like I said, it's nice to not have to worry about RTV and all that stuff, making a mess and letting it set up and all that kind of thing. So anyway, we're gonna get the stock one off, go ahead and get our new one on from SPELAB, and well, like I said, we'll flip this thing around and get started on the rear. All right, so we got the stock cover off, get everything cleaned up here. We'll have to wipe it down again here in a moment, but we did have to drop the tie rod bar. So it's pretty simple. You'll have a Carter key, the nut. I'm not going to tell you all what size nut that is because this is an aftermarket, and I remember when I put this one on here, it was a different size than what was already on the truck. So I'm not going to tell you all, and then somebody gets mad in the comments because, oh, mine's the wrong size. So either way, you do have to drop that. And I also got this little set off the TikTok shop, and let me throw a video in here. The thing actually works really, really nice. When I replaced this, granted it was only about 8 to 10 months ago, maybe somewhere in there, something like that. I whacked on that spindle for an hour before it finally came out. Whacked on the spindle, ended up having to resort to a pickle fork, and whacked and whacked and whacked. And that little set off the TikTok shop, which I'll throw that in my showcase if y'all want to check it out. I actually took this out really easy, so I'll throw a video in here for that. But now that this guy is out of the way here, we can go ahead and get our new cover in. And well, like I said, once we get this one done, we'll move to the rear, and I'll show y'all what it looks like before we put the tie rod bar back up. Alright, so I apologize for the lighting, or lack thereof, I guess. The light died naturally, but we got it on there. I gotta go through, torque everything, and then we gotta get fluid in this thing. Put the tie rod bar back on. I'm gonna wait to do that because there's not the most room in here. And I think I bought a fluid extractor. I just gotta find it. If it didn't end up at a house that will not be named, like a lot of my other tools did, but we'll see. But anyway, we'll see. If not, I'll run to Harbor Freight. We'll grab one because that'll make this whole deal easier. Because fill plug, track bar, yeah. So like I said, we'll get this. But either way, let's get some fluid in this thing, and we'll get it out of here and get started on the rear. All right, so we got the front all put back together. Now, the tie rod bar does rub the front cover a little bit when you get pretty close to full lock. So I'll throw a picture up here on the screen. And, well, with that being said, we got the truck turned around, and well, as you can see, got the rear cover off and it's dripping. So we're gonna let it drip for a little bit. We'll get it cleaned up and start getting our new cover on. Alrighty guys, so we just got the rear all buttoned back up. Now, let me go ahead and say, we didn't fill everything all the way up because I didn't have this all the way in the shop. I was kind of nose diving on the rear and then, you know, squatting on the front one when we did the front. So we left them a little low. I'm also going to have to go get some more fluid, but we decided before we realized we didn't have enough fluid to leave them a little low. I'm not going to drive the truck. I'll drive the 300. I'm going to go get some more fluid, and I'm going to let this thing sit in the driveway up here on level ground, and that'll give us a better idea of where the level actually is, so we can get them filled up where they need to be, and you know, all that fun stuff. But let me park this thing. I need to put the four-wheelers and stuff back in the shop, close the shop down. Then I'm gonna clean up, head to Harbor Freight, look at some more tools, because I've been on this kick of buying tools lately. And, well, why not? Because I don't like borrowing stuff from people, and it's just nice to have my own stuff, if that makes sense. So, it's kind of that. But, like I said, it's kind of nice to have my own stuff. And my grandpa told me years ago, he said, you know, if you need something once, you know, go borrow it if you need to. Or if you can, go borrow it. If you need it twice and you have the means to do so, buy it. And it's been a pretty good rule of thumb. So, and there's also stuff that, you know, with doing the things that I do with powder coating and painting and, you know, building stuff like this, that, well, I just walk by in a tool store, man, that would be nice to have, and I buy it. For example, I'm not sponsored by Harbor Freight yet, but I should be. I bought an Icon ball joint press, and that has been such a lifesaver for all the powder coating and everything else. So, if you're on the fence about buying one of those, I've put mine through the absolute ringer lately, and it's been fantastic. But let me show y'all. So I inflated the bags for more room under here, and then we went ahead and deflated them. But just so y'all can get a bit of an idea under here. Now, don't mind the rusty look. I do need to paint the frame on this again. I noticed on the front, because if y'all remember when I did the lift, I painted the frame till about the back of the cab, or middle of that door, somewhere in there. And I didn't want to go any further because I didn't want to get overspraying a bunch of stuff. So I stopped there. But at some point we're gonna tear this thing back apart. This needs repainted again, and well, next suspension setup, we're gonna paint the whole frame because, well, I'll have everything torn apart. The only thing I've done to the rear on this truck is the shocks. But here is the front, all done up. So everything looks nice. Like I said, need to get some more fluid. We'll get them filled. When we do that, I'll pull it up here because this is more level than there. But I'll pull it up. We'll get that. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the parts store before they close. It's already 7:30, so I might have to do it tomorrow because it is Sunday. But anyway, guys, that is gonna be a wrap for this one. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, there will be a discount code and a link down below in the description if y'all want to check these out. Big thank you to the guys over at SPELAB for sending these out. But anyway, guys, that's going to be a wrap for this one. So if y'all enjoyed today's video or found it helpful, please drop a like and comment down below. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope everybody has a great day.